It's time to talk astronomy stuff. We do that with Dylan Storey, of course. Thanks very much to the Auckland Stardome Observatory. Thanks to them. And Dylan, come on in. Good morning, Dylan.
Good morning.
And last week, of course, the big stuff that we were talking about was the transit of Venus. But there's something else that is far more common, and we like to celebrate here in New Zealand. Of course, it's Matariki.
Yeah, the annual rising in the east of the cluster of stars, Matariki. That will be happening. Well, the actual rising of the stars under ideal conditions would happen sometime around early June or possibly late May.
Yeah.
But we celebrate the Māori New Year by the rising of the star cluster combined with something else, which is the phase of the moon. So we wait for the first crescent moon after Matariki stars are seen in the east, and that gives us the date to celebrate, which this year is June the 21st.
June the 21st, which is round about winter solstice as well, isn't it?
In fact, it's bang on winter solstice this year.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the whole idea of it, the sort of the solar lunar calendar aspect of marking Matariki is the idea is to mark seasonal change, mark sort of deepest winter or close to, as a in pre-technology age, as a marker of seasonal change. Hunting cycles, hunting, fishing, restarting the year. Various cultural things that go with the restarting of a year, the celebrations of New Year's or whatever. So because it is tied in with the cycles of the moon, so we've got two types of celestial calendars working at the same time. We've got the solar calendar, which is marked by the rising of the stars. So that depends on where Earth is around the sun, and therefore relative to the background stars. So that's for all intentions purposes, going to be exactly the same every year. It's not going to shift. But the lunar calendar is also incorporated, and that's got a completely different phase because the cycles of the moon don't sync up with the cycles of the Earth around the sun. So lunar and solar calendar are also, for all intentions purposes, a different cycle. So that crescent moon will fall on a different day every year.
And just getting back to the solstice side of things, of course, it does mean it's the shortest day, and certainly the worst of winter isn't over. In fact, it's probably really just starting. But the positive thing is, though, that the day should start getting longer. Yeah.
Yeah. So the temperature will get worse. Because there's a temperature lag, but astronomically midwinter is the solstice. That's June 21st. So that's when the days will be shortest. But if you're in a house situated such as mine, the daytime temperature here in my studio office relies very much on how much sun it gets. So at the moment I lose the sun behind a building at about 3 in the afternoon, so the temperature starts to drop. So sort of my working day temperature depends more on the amount of sun it gets than the ambient temperature outside, so it is very relevant to me. So yeah, as soon as the days start getting longer, it will be beneficial for me. But it's not the change of the sun is not even. So we've got the equinox, which will happen around the 21st of March and around the 21st of September again. That's when the sun is rising due east and setting due west. So around the equinox, the sun moves the fastest. So each day the sun's going to move further north or south, depending on which season it is.
Yeah.
Around the solstice, it kind of slows down because if you can imagine, sort of difficult spatial concept, but it's sort of more around the curve of the Earth. So the change in the seasonal change each day sort of moves the sun less on the horizon than it does when it's near the equinox. So from now till solstice, the sun's not going to change very much, and then not very much again.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Whereas it's further away from solstice that the change becomes much more apparent.
Yeah, I think it does, but often better if you're holding a couple of globes or something, and you can see the interaction.
Yeah,
between the two.
if you got globes and lines and things, it all starts to make sense.
It does. Now, this being our last chat, is there anything else that we need to look out for? Because we've had some major stuff like the transit of Venus this year. Well, what else is on the horizon in the next sort of year or so?
Well, there's always stuff coming up. There's always the old meteor showers. Of course, the sun's coming into its more active phase, so we can expect more solar flares from the sun. And we were talking last week about the outstanding images they're getting from the sun through the Stardome Solar Telescope.
Solar eclipse.
Yeah, when's that? November. Partial solar eclipse.
Well, partial for us, but is it full in Australia?
I can't remember.
I think it is. Full. Somewhere up around the top part Darwin, around there. There's people are travelling all around the world to go to this particular eclipse. There's cruises and all kinds of things.
People do. There's eclipse spotters. In fact, I know a couple of them who'll travel anywhere in the world to see a solar eclipse. And good on them, if they can.
And it being partial here, I think it's still going to be significant. It's not just a tiny section of the sun. It's a
no. We will notice it.
Yeah.
So it'll be very noticeable. The difference between a full one is that you get that light blocked out and the temperature drops, so it sort of turns into night for a little while. But anything less than full, you don't get that effect, but you still see this massive thing going in front of the sun. So it's still an awesome celestial event.
Yeah, no doubt there'll be more publicity around that in November, but if this is the last you hear of it, just remember it and don't freak out. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah. It's not the end of the world. Or is it?
or is it?
No.
We've got to June. It's an achievement right there, Dylan. It's an achievement for Earth.
Exactly.
June 2012. Not bad.
As far as astronomy goes, we've got the next generation Mars rover landing in August, which I'm quite excited about.
Yep. That'll be televised on NASA TV on the internet to check out.
NASA TV, yep. Follow the Stardome website for updates on how that's going.
Cool.
And that's sort of, I guess, part of the vanguard of a new generation of space exploration, the next level of technology, I guess, being sent out there to get the next level of information about things.
Yeah.
So there's heaps happening in astronomy.
And there's even all that secretive stuff. Like, what was that American NASA spacecraft that landed last week that had apparently been in orbit for a year?
Yeah, I know, but this mini shuttle type thing that they kind of kept secret. I mean, wasn't entirely secret because some amateur astronomers have been tracking it as it goes across the sky. But
yeah,
in orbit for a year. Thanks, NASA.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's something good comes out of that anyway. Dylan, hey, wonderful talking astronomy, spacey stuff, just idly staring into space as we do every Friday morning. It's been fantastic over the past wee while.
Yeah.
And
pondering on the big questions from time to time.
Yeah, and I want you to give a plug for something else that you do, and that is, of course, you're a musician, Dylan Storey Band. There's that, but also you have been making music specifically for astronomy shows in Britain. Is that right?
Yeah, and Australia, and so I haven't been releasing any material under Dylan Storey for a while. I sort of thought I'd give that a miss for a while, and I'm just sort of playing guitar with different people and playing in a few different other people's bands. But I sort of turned my hand to doing themes and scores, I guess, TV and film music, and then I've had these connections through the planetarium, so I've been doing scores to these planetarium shows, which are awesome because the visuals are all around you, so you get to use 5.1 sound and there's a lot more spatial audio cues, I guess.
Cool. So is there a website that people can keep up with all those activities?
Yep. Huntawaysound.com. That's my production That's my production music website, I guess you could say. Soundtrack music website.
Huntawaysound.com. Dylan, wonderful. Of course, people can catch up with you on Twitter as well, twitter.com/Dylan Storey. Until next time, good sir.
Thanks, Wammo. Yep.
It's now 7:54. Got to tune